Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the panels, and then, of course, our very, very powerful youth leaders. Can you please rise so that we give you a proper round of applause? First to the youth, ladies and gentlemen, Alice, Yuli, and Maria. I think you will agree with me that you all did us so proud, and yourself. Thank you very much for speaking truth to power. Thank you very much for being open and honest about issues that are so close to your heart, and sometimes not very easy to formulate and speak up in front of so many people internationally. So we thank you sincerely for that. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, can I also have a round of applause for our panels? I'm not sure if there's a problem with the microphone. Should I use a different one? Okay. Thank you. If there's anything, somebody can just step up and let me know if there's a problem with the translation so we address it. It seems like this microphone is not making contact with the translators or the interpreters. Thank you. Is this better? Fantastic. Now give a round of applause for all our interpreters, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. To all our panelists, if you could please rise so that we can acknowledge you. For first and foremost, being willing to come and be present and engage. Ma'am, would you please rise? Ladies and gentlemen, now, interestingly, they may all be female, but they had the voices and they carried the voices of the young men, the elderly men, and the young boys. Thank you so much. I wish to start off with what His Excellency, the Honorable Minister, said from Italy. Inclusivity is about democracy. You cannot separate the two. So we have to remember also that he says education has become a very strong political issue. Now we are very proud that we could lead with Namibia, Italy, and Maria, SDG for Youth Network, that we could use this first track. Now what are the key points that we are taking away today here? What is it that we've seen and that we've heard here? This week was so important for all of us. We've listened, we've engaged, and we had an opportunity to internalize that which we have heard. Internalize so that we take it further to see how we can improve on it. Because the realities are, if we talk about transformation, we said it's not about reform. It's hard work. It requires a mindset change. It requires us to be honest and open and robustly discussing solutions. How do we pass the roadblocks that are still there and that has been talked about so eloquently? Now, ladies and gentlemen, somebody working very quietly this side, if you could just turn to the audience, shall we give her a wonderful applause? Thank you so much, ma'am, for illustrating to us all the messages that we can take away. Shall we dig into them right away? Now, let's see what we have. First and foremost, it was the issue of democracy that has been raised by our Italian minister. And then, if we can put them into certain categories, There is the issue of, that we've heard all our speakers focused on, and we heard examples, focusing on the legislature, having policies, the right policies and the right plans in place on a political level, because education is a public good, but it's a very strong political issue. We've heard that. So the policies, what policies should be having in place? First and foremost, we should ensure that the voices of the youth are heard. Those who have been on the periphery, who has been invisible, the refugee child, the child from a crisis, the child, having a specific gender identity. He said it so clearly, Ulysses said, how teachers did not know how to handle them and were not giving the support. So we must have the right legislature in place. We must make sure that the youth have the place to express their voices. We have to create safe spaces and learning for our children, our youth, ensuring also that we take responsibility. But it doesn't stop there. It was made very clear that we need actually to be accountable. The youth is calling upon all of us to account. Politicians, we've asked to create specific cabinet committees, that will not just advocate, that will not just bring knowledge and skills to the table, but that will involve the youth as partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to emphasize that. Involve the youth as partners. They are not just there to contribute and to take a front seat, because sometimes the youth, you must also remember, there's a time to lead from the front, and sometimes it will be even better to lead from behind. But you must lead as a youth. So we are reminded as politicians, as technocrats, that we should be held accountable. And I think today we declare, please hold us to account. We are civil servants. We are here to serve elected politicians and appointed technocrats. So the issue of accountability, very, very strong. We must invest in those that are left behind. Invest not just in terms of ensuring that we give a space and a platform for the youth to talk. It's not just about funding, ladies and gentlemen. It's about investing. If we are saying that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, they need to be groomed today. They need to be invested in today. They need to be mentored, and they need to have the required resources for that. So the resource mobilization and allocation for those, and that is where it comes in, that changing the mindsets and protecting the rights of the child is central to transformation. Fighting stigma, invest in those that are left behind, ensuring that they have an opportunity, connectivity, the data, the devices, and the teachers, the trained teachers, to help them with digital learning and mental health. And ladies and gentlemen, we've all been through a terrible 2 years. We've heard from our panelists what countries were doing. Ecuador naming the 5 key issues of what they are doing to recover learning in their countries. We've heard the best practices. And we know the impact of mental health. It wasn't just on the learners. The learners were isolated from the teachers that they love most, where they spent most of the days at. Understanding, loving, and caring teachers. But the teacher, him or herself, were also longing to be with their learners. The teachers also lost loved ones. The teachers also had to grieve alone. The teachers had their own fears and anxieties, and so did the learners. And it was a vicious circle. And that, ladies and gentlemen, the issue of mental health will still take us many years to address. And that form part of the transforming of education. Can we give a round of applause to all of us who are suffering with mental health issues? And those who are actively advocating for mental health issues to be addressed in our school system. We have seen that we must put to the forefront all those that are seemingly invisible, seemingly at a distance, which we only from many countries see them integrated into our lives or see it elsewhere. The refugee child, and the importance of making them much more visible. So we need to listen to their voices, but it's more than just listening. It's about partnership with the youth and passing the microphone to them. So there was this call also from our panelists, very strong, urgent call for collective action. Part of the advocacy, not just collective action, but also the legislature going out there and all of us ensuring that we have a shared understanding of issues at heart and that there is a collective involvement at every country level. We were called to excel and not just be good in what we do as countries, but to excel when it comes to providing nutrition and working on eliminating violence and bullying, discrimination and stigma in our schools. Providing the right infrastructures, the safe spaces, a place where a child will feel at ease. Any child and every child, no matter where they come from, every child matters. And that is where we need to create the safe spaces for our children, where they can live, laugh, play, grow, learn, and excel in what they want to do in life as well. So, we also see that the teacher is at the center of quality, inclusive education. And that there's a need for us to relook the methodologies of teaching. There's a need for us to acknowledge that teachers are also suffering, that teachers also need assistance and continuous professional development, that the pre-service training for teachers probably need to be reviewed. It came out in my country, Namibia. We had our national consultations, and there was a strong call for higher institutions of learning to review the curriculum of teacher training, to make them more relevant. The traditional teacher role have changed, and I think that's the case in many countries. So let's invest in our teachers and let us restore the teaching profession. Let us bring care and love back into the classroom and acceptance for every child that is in the classroom. Yes, there was a call for us to keep the girl child in school. There was a call for us to ensure that there's a ban. Ladies and gentlemen, every girl child that falls pregnant is not just a number. They're not statistics. They are human beings. They are peoples. They are people with a name, with an identity. And we have to ensure that the girl child will have to take education further. The girl child needs to finish her school. And not just complete secondary school. The life skills teachers, we heard the role of the teachers and the life skills teachers. The life skills teachers and any teacher must be empowered to empower our learners and to ensure that they go further with whatever it is that they wish to do that will help them to become responsible citizens and to bring progress in the lives of the children and those closest to them. So the girl child plays a critical role. We talk about the issues of violence, the issue of bullying, the issue of humiliating children is part of a violence. We've heard the story of Maria who said, the teacher said, girls can only be two things. You are either pretty or you are smart. How dare you? How dare we speak like that? So, all forms of violence, psychological, sexual, physical, emotional abuse, that is wrong. Not just in the classroom or on the playground or in the school, but also in our houses, in our communities. So for me, it's an issue of integrity. It's an issue of integrity, addressing issues of violence. Comprehensive sexuality education. Comprehensive sexuality education. The youth has made it clear on all platforms, online, in white consultations, in public engagement, the youth has been clear. Talk to me about my sexual reproductive health and my needs. Don't shy away from doing and addressing uncomfortable topics. We heard it. Let's not shy away as parents and as teachers, as community activists and leaders. We need to find the solutions with the youth. So we need to bring in comprehensive sexuality education. And research has shown us the more informed the child is, the better decision making will take place. So there's a call for us to really ensure that comprehensive sexuality education is being addressed. The French ones? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's clear that we talked about creating safe spaces for learners to thrive, where we need to have strong transformational leadership, not just in politics, not just in public service, in corporate entities, as stakeholders, as role players. And you believe me, ladies and gentlemen, and I will stop now. If you look around this room, take a moment. First start with yourself, and then look around in this room and just visualize the immense brain power and energy that you're surrounded with, starting with your own knowledge, your own experiences, your qualifications, your expertise, the role that you fulfill in your workplace, the role you fulfill in your family life. Take that and put it together, all of this, and then you tell me that yes, indeed, we do have the transformational will and power to transform education. Can you please turn to the person on your left and say, we can and we will transform education. I like chaos, let's do it. I can and I will. I wish to acknowledge to you that as an accounting officer and executive director in the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibia, with our team under the vigilant and strong transformational leadership of our minister, we pledge here today to you that we have the will, we have the power, we have what it takes to transform education, and we pledge that to you today, just as Ecuador did, just as all the panelists here were explaining. And I wish to acknowledge all of you and appreciate you sincerely for expressing in such a strong voice. Not just because it was nice words, because it's not about nice words. It's about the sincerity with which you have presented to the world today these important topical issues. I sincerely thank you as panelists, and I sincerely thank you as a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Maria, I hand over to you, or shall we, and then we can call on for the closure. Were we not supposed to have the outcome of the Mentimeters? Chris, is it there? Is it still coming? Am I stepping off the stage too soon? So remember, there was a key question that all of us had to engage in. What is the key action that is needed to transform education